Community Viewpoint with John Pollock and Maria Hurst.
And welcome to another edition of what am I? This is Community Viewpoint. I'm John Pollock, your host. And we had so much fun last week with Rosalba Bonacorsi from the Carl Sagan Center of the SETI Institute. I want to get that right. We thought we'd do another segment with her. There was so much energy, so much information she had. We thought we'd share it with another program. So if you remember from last week, we mentioned that she's here to promote MarsFest at the Death Valley National Park, which is happening March 28th, 29th, and 30th. And she's going to be telling us a little bit more about what she does, why we have the MarsFest, and a little bit about sharing about how we can possibly do the things that she does. And it's not out of our reach. It's just so exciting to see what she does. I'd like to share that with you, and hopefully, Rosalba, we can explain, give some of the energy that you have to the folks out here.
Well, thank you guys, and thank you everybody for watching this.
As you know, that she's not from Pahrump, okay? You're from Italy?
I'm from Italy originally, and so I still have an accent, so beware. But I'm coping with that, and I moved to California in 2005 to NASA Ames for my postdoctoral research.
And you just came to this country in 2005?
My first time was in the New York areas.
Okay.
So
but you didn't get their accent, though, from New York?
No. And I will have still my accent for years to come, I think. So, but yeah, I fall in love with California, but also with Nevada. I love deserts, and I was an ocean person in my previous life. I studied marine mammals for my major thesis in Italy, and then over time I shift to the desert because the desert is wonderful and it's very, very inspirational. And has many features that we see on other planets.
The marriage of the two planets are Earth and Mars. There are many similarities, and you've seen those. Other people have seen those. What is it? The stark nature of there's no vegetation.
Yeah, it's a combination of factors. Of course, deserts are desert because they don't have a lot of water, and they don't have a lot of water because there is not a lot of rain, depending where they are situated. They are rain shadowed, upper mountains, so the moisture and the rain doesn't come very easily as in other place. So deserts all over the world have a paucity, little water, but when the water comes, when the rain falls, we have a lot of erosion. And that erosion creates, valley networks, gullies, alluvial fan, and alluvial features that scientists since the early 70s start seeing also on Mars. I'm fond of Mars. I'm fond about our entire solar system. But Mars is the closest planet we have here. And Mars also shared with the Earth the first beginning. So it was might have an atmosphere, might have more water available. And what we see today is just wonderful geology on Mars. On Earth, in desert, we see that same geology, sometimes that morphology, the shape of the hills, how its shape has been carved by the water.
Right, we've seen that. We're just learning that now that Mars, we're understanding that Mars may have had that water by scientific experiments from the rovers over there. We're learning that, yes, there probably was water, and there probably was water in Death Valley, 2004, I think it was. Did they tell you about that when it flooded?
Oh, yeah. Actually, my very first time in that valley was actually September 2004. And in that year was coming, and the road was totally wrecked.
Okay.
So I was coming for a colleague from NASA Ames, and we were seeing, OMG, we couldn't go there. The weather station. He had the weather station in Badwater, and we couldn't get there. And I was so disappointed. So we tried to come from the northern entrance through the Panamint Valley Road, but we were unable to see anything because the roads were torn apart. And that is what's happening when we have a lot of water. The water comes all together in the desert. It's still coming all together. And anytime it comes, it wrecks out roads and highways and, sometimes injures people. So, yes, I'm looking also at the water, at the rainfall in that valley, because this rainfall we had here is a good model for what scientists do believe we had on Mars.
Interesting. Okay, yeah.
And what is interesting is that Mars had evidence of water flowing. Must be, because an evidence is an evidence. You see that. The trickiest point is explaining how long it took for an appropriate set of water available to carve those features we see. And this is what scientists are dealing about today. There are many hypotheses about when that happened and how long it happened. And it's still, TBD. I mean, still we are learning a lot. The Vikings saw evidence of the water. The satellite saw evidence of the water. The Phoenix lander seen evidence of water as frozen ice made by water.
Right.
And also there were droplets on the legs of the lander.
So the MarsFest basically is a good classroom for you. So it's one thing to be able to explain somebody on a sheet of paper and read it, but actually if you're in three-dimensional, it's looking right in front of you, and you can explain to us, the other scientists over there, what you're talking about. They could see the erosion, the similarities between what we have here and what you're trying to explain has happened millions of years ago on Mars.
Yes.
That's very good, and that's what you're trying to get across in the MarsFest?
Yeah, that's just the scientific exploration part of it. So we really wanted to enrich people with, really touch the people's heart and the people's spirits about, the desert, what the desert is important, why it's so important. Keeping going, exciting people about education and science. And, it's not easy to be a scientist today. Most of us are on the verge of extinction because if we don't have a funding, we're going to keep going with doing our research. So it's also national parks needs, funding and support because everybody knew what happened, with the sequestrations, with the cutting the budget. So it's very important also that what we do as a scientist doesn't just end in the laboratories and just doesn't end on a specific scientific literature that non-scientists will never be able to read. So we really wanted to bring people to the desert, to that valley, and getting them excited for, appreciating the beauty of the desert, appreciating the beauty of the exploration. So after all, the solar system, our solar system is not just an alien environment. I mean, it's just is out there, and we will not be able to outreach it. But our planet is a part of it.
Yes.
And the solar system is a natural environment. So as a naturalist, I really very proud and pleased to be able to work on Earth, learning, and then transferring this information, either myself or just giving this to my colleagues, for them to grab and and go on with their studies.
Yes, this is the perfect classroom for the point you want to get across, and it was a fantastic idea from what was the lady's name?
Stephanie Curiazis. Yes, we really want it.
It's an excellent idea, and you're making that happen, and you're promoting that. And we're promoting that here, and hopefully that you'll get a chance to go there the 28th, 29th, and 30th of March. You can go to the website. It's MarsFest 2014. Google that, or Bing, whatever search engine, you'll be able to see what is involved at the correct website. And with the SETI Institute, Carl Sagan Center for the SETI Institute, if you type that in, you know you're in the right place then. And we have the youngsters, the adolescents, the school-age kids over here. Oh, did you know what you wanted to be when you were in high school?
Well, my mom was a school teacher, so I was supposed to become a school teacher too.
Okay.
And I was a school teacher for a substitute, but I really wanted to do science. So I had really my attitude, in my, DNA,
Attitude.
I really wanted to be a scientist. What kind of scientist? I don't know. I mean, I liked everything. I like it, play with plants, play with animals, not really torturing animals, but, studying, watching, observing. I like it, doing experiments. Nobody was telling me how to do it. It just, my families were not scientists.
They weren't?
No, my mom was, she is still alive and I love her, but she was a teacher and my dad was a blue collar. So,
So this is all on your own. You decided this is what I want to do. You had the urge to do something like that. There's a fantastic article about you at the Huffington Post. I found that if you'd like to find out more about this lovely lady, you just type her name in there and you'll find it at the Huffington Post. So that's Rosalba Bonacorsi and the Huffington Post. And there's a fantastic article about you, but it was basically all on your own.
Yeah, that was the challenge. That's just, I like telling people my story because I was not supposed to become a scientist. Even if I got my PhD, even if I went to the university, in Italy it could be relatively easy to do that. But when you're out, then, you're not supposed to be that.
So maybe we can give somebody a spark if they come over to the MarsFest, if they say, wow, I love this. I love the people who are presenting here. I love what I'm seeing and I want to do something and there's nothing that'll stop me. And this would be great. And maybe you could start something in one of our the kids in this town, or maybe one of the young adults.
Yeah, and then everybody could be a scientist. You don't need to be super great at math. I was pretty bad at math. I didn't ever have good teachers.
Okay.
So I was good when I had good teachers. I was not good when I didn't have good teachers. But math was an obstacle I had to overcome for becoming a scientist, even a field scientist, even natural scientist, not even an astronomer, which requires to have a much more math and physics into it.
Yes.
But I really wanted, but there was not the first step. Once you get graduated, then you need to get your PhD, and PhD was big. It was difficult not to achieve, but it was difficult to enter a PhD program.
We've burned through another 15 minutes, March 28th through the 30th, MarsFest 2014. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
And we'll see you in Death Valley.
Thank you, John. It was a pleasure.